Hello everyone, thank you for staying and thank you for being watching our panel. Our panel is the future of advertising and we have four great examples and clients and agency based to show us basically what the future of advertising is. So I'd like to introduce them. What we're going to do is we're going to have a half-hour moderated panel and then I'll open it up for questions and answers. Nada Abi Saleh joined Leo Burnett in 1988 as an account executive on P&G. And in 2014, she assumed the role of managing director, lending her strategic skills and leadership to an agency of over 100 people. Nada has raised the global ranking of Leo Burnett Beirut to the fourth most creative agency in the world, as per the Big One 2015 report. I'd like to introduce Samar Layoun as well, who graduated from AUB and started her career in business consulting. In 2011, she founded AdBlue, a full-service social and digital media agency. Samar focuses on business development across the MENA region, and some of her clients are L'Oreal Group, Henkel, BMW, Mini, and Renault. Carol Milan started her career at Henkel 21 years ago in the finance department and is currently the GM for Henkel Laundry and Home Care business in the Levant. She also leads the Henkel Sustainability Initiative for the Middle East and Africa region. John Trabulsi, the only male on our panel, a great male. John Trabulsi is the head of marketing and communication of Bank Audi and is responsible of the image and reputation of the bank. Previous to that, he spent 26 years at Leo Burnett in Dubai, holding various regional positions and working on key brands such as Philip Morris, P&G, GM, and Citibank. So I'm just going to ask a few questions, and the panel will answer as they wish. How is the current economy in Lebanon and the region affecting advertising, and how are clients and agencies adjusting innovatively?
Want to start with me? Hello everyone. Thank you, Maya, for inviting us. I think it's a hot topic, and it's the topic of the year. Yes, we are witnessing a slowdown in the economy, locally, regionally, globally. And in addition to this, advertising is suffering from also another major revolution, which is the inception of digital and social. But today, this is not the topic because we need to look at things in a positive way. And we are here. If we are here, it's because we're talking about the industry, as far as I'm concerned, from a communication standpoint, is to see how we can keep a future or we can make a better future for our agency and industry. Today, the name of the game from clients' part is we want more for less and we want more with less. So this is what we're facing, and this is the major adjustment and challenge that we need to deal with, in addition to many others. But since the entry point of this question is the economical factor, I will focus on this alone. So basically how we are structuring, how we are facing this, we are restructuring, we are relooking at our internal structure, and we are, the name of the game to answer more for less, more with less efficiencies. So we're looking across all the departments, all the little, section of the agency, and we're building all our operational principle according to efficiencies. For instance, I'll give an example. We look at client profitability. The ones who are not profitable, maybe we can let them go. Before, we used to have a very wide client roster. We are now choosing and focusing our clients on few big ones instead of having several small ones. We are looking into a more vertical, going away from a vertical structure whereby you have several layers and which duplicates work and resources and time and money, and we're going into a more horizontal, flat, lines. This is how we are addressing this, and we have to be much more competitive because this is what clients are asking us to be. Thank you.
All right. So basically, in addition to what Nada said, as a digital agency, of course, we're looking more at clients that are more profitable, and I think everyone across all whatever type of agency, whether big or small, everyone is really focusing on that. However, I think adjusting to this economic situation is providing clients who are thinking a bit outside the box, being agile, being proactive, looking at innovative ways of storytelling, thinking of personal productions or experiential marketing techniques to sort of provide brands with experiences that are not necessarily too costly, because across the board it is we want more for less, and it's the same.
Hello, in fact I will not add to what has been said. I think on this point we've covered so much on it.
We covered the agency side.
Yeah, correct.
To talk from the client side.
Exactly. But in fact, I think that they also covered the client side by saying that budgets are really shrinking, and it's no secret that we're suffering a lot, and all multinationals are asking us to shrink the budgets, to freeze the budgets, to really focus on more efficiency and try to marry creativity with efficiency now. So I don't want to sell something because it is creative. I want to sell it because it is right, and it is the right thing for the consumer. And of course, we have to manage our budgets in a different way, which pushes us and the agencies, as they just said somewhere or another, to be more creative, to be more innovative, and to look for ways and means to do more with less, and to do it in a more innovative manner, so more impactful manner. And I think we're going to cover this in the other questions.
Okay, you've all listened to Ramzi's presentation, so it's like Lebanon is doing extremely well and flourishing. And I think if you look at certain data like that interest most of you, I see a lot of young faces. Like in terms of job creation, we are far from being where we should be. In terms of foreign investment, we are far from being where we should be. In terms of how we look at it from the bank aspect, banks have been in the last few years quite in golden place, and today if you look at the marketing expenditures in Lebanon, among the top spenders in Lebanon you see almost 7 banks. If you look at the top 100 spenders in the Pan-Arab world, you have 1 bank, which is QNB. And so banks are playing a bigger role than they should be playing in today's world in Lebanon. You go to any festivals, you always see sponsored by this bank or that bank, etc., which is giving you an idea on where also the economy is going, and why the investment and the focus is specifically on certain areas. And banks have been protected in the last few years, but I don't think this is sustainable in the future for the economy in Lebanon. From our perspective, I will add one thing, which is KPIs. The way we are looking at things today is in relation to KPIs and where we are investing in terms of return on investment for every penny that we place in the market, which is not always very possible in Lebanon because of the banking secrecy, so we can't link what we do on social media with our client base. It's quite tricky for us.
Okay, in the past 30, 40 years maybe, with traditional media, advertising agencies, how does it differ? What do you think the future relationship of the agency and the client is going to be? Is there going to be a change in the way they structure their budgets and the way they structure their contracts, things like that? Yeah, it'll be interesting.
By all means, I think before it was kind of transactional relationship between agency and clients, and some of the clients would treat their agency as a supplier. I mean, they have a marketing plan, they give you the objective, and they go to the agency and this is what you need to do. With the complexity of today's world with digital and social, whereby there are no rules anymore. I mean, both entities, client and agency, need to work in partnership. And clients are becoming much more demanding with their agency. So they don't expect only a communication solution to their business problem, but they expect a business solution to their problem. And this is the major shift. So, and this does not work anymore as a supplier-client relationship, but it needs partnership. they have to look at agency as being their consultant and as problem solvers, not only in terms of com, but also in taking all the aspects of, of the job. And I mean, this is the major shift that I think is characterizing the relationship.
Sure. So, also in addition to that, as someone who works or who's been working with social media and digital marketing for the past 7 years, we struggle a lot with the fact that sometimes on the other side, on the client side, there are maybe wrong expectations, or there is no clear understanding of what the tools are and what the platforms can do for you. So let me give an example. $100 spent on Facebook will not sell a building, all right? Or you will never achieve, let's say, massive brand or go viral with a budget of $500 and no production or no tools behind it. So the relationship now, it's not even transactional. When you speak, it's very important that on the client side, someone is willing to understand your language and is willing to explore. It's a bad time for marketeers to be lazy. So it would be always interesting to have on the other side people who are willing to push a little bit the limit and allow you to test the market. So it's more of, let's say, a partnership, yes, but it's also more where you are like business partners trying to see or to explore, because the world is changing super quickly. There are so many tools out there, and if we stick to where we are, almost always we'll get old results. So it's more of a more mature relationship of testing together and the other side understanding what you're basically talking about.
In fact, we've always been partners with our agencies. Throughout my career, I worked with three agencies maybe, and each time it was impossible to work with an agency if they were not business partners with us. Because if you don't feel that you have a brand, let's say, ambassador and someone who really is fighting for your brand with you and really giving the extra mile, you cannot work with it. And we are, as Henkel and people here in Lebanon, I believe most of the community, we believe in advertising. We do believe that advertising, at the end of the day, if I want to define it, it's the voice of your brand. It's the voice that talks to the consumers and tells you what my brand stands for, what personality my brand has, and what voice it has. So it is very important to pick the right partner for that and to have a very good relationship to be able to convey that. So beyond every budget or anything that we could look for, we look for a business partner, and this is what we found each time. I believe we have the best agencies here in Lebanon. And I would like to thank you both here, because you represent two major agencies that are playing a big role in our community, even if it is our competitors one, but I believe it is a very good one. So, no, truly, there is a very good job being done, and if we look around the world, we find Lebanese in advertising that are succeeding everywhere. So I believe the relationship, to answer your question, is shifting, yes, as everything is shifting with this changing world, and it is ever-changing, everlasting change that we're feeling, that going very rapidly with technology, with data access, with all the trends that we're seeing around. So one major thing in the shift also would be the multiple channels that are now existing and are really making a metamorphose in our way of dealing. What I found with the agency I worked with is that I saw them, interestingly, adapting to that and trying to extend and expand their knowledge towards that, partnering with other agencies or doing it themselves. So the major shift is there, and I believe that we are adapting to it here in Lebanon rapidly.
I can't agree with you more, except on the best agency. I think it's quite a tough time between the agency and client in terms of relationship. It's mainly driven by the red ocean that's happening with the new media, with the technology improvement, with the innovation that is required. It's always a race between what you do today and what is happening around the world. Today, WhatsApp is testing in the US commercial viable offering. and they might launch it in a few months. So they are testing this with a few clients in the US, and so a lot of things are coming that we are not ready to, and even the agencies are not always ready for it to be able to address it for us in the best possible way. And that's why sometimes some of the clients will go and search somewhere else for a solution that might not be on offer today here, because they are always looking at this competitive edge that will allow them to be at the forefront of what is on offer and how to use it in the best manner.
To add to Jean's highlight, how do you as agencies keep up with the pace and with all this new technology? Leo Burnett as like a multinational and AdBloom as a local business.
I don't know if as a multinational we are more, how do you say, chanceux, lucky or less lucky because we are part of a multinational. But still, how do we adapt? Okay, we need to adapt, okay? And we need to restructure, and I said this before. Now, being part of Publicis Group, the transformation has started in a very decisive way 2 years ago with the change of management and with the repositioning of Publicis Group under Publicis Communication as the power of one. And this is our new motto. What does it mean basically? We are streamlining our different expertise across different competencies, and in order to achieve more efficiencies and be able to come back to the good old model where you have a kind of a one-stop shop for your client. Because at one point in time, expertise, brand agency used to, clients used to work with one brand agency, with the digital one, with the PR one, with, and they are not part of the same group or the same mentality. They don't look into eye to eye. So the communication was suffering because it was bits and pieces. And then again, the big group found out that it wasn't working, and it was actually extremely expensive to clients to go into different entities for each assignment. So they kind of regrouped everything under one big hat. So this is how we're doing.
So basically, it's really not easy to keep up. But the main thing is to also always be ready to test. It's very important. So there are literally hundreds of tools and channels out there, and it's super important to be ready to test. We at AdBloom have always the time and a budget to test out platforms, and that's how we try to keep up at all times.
Would you like to add anything from the client side? Okay. How integrated currently are all your media channels, and how do you feel they integrate, especially with the digital channels, your BTL, your ATL? How do all of these come together?
In fact, we do our best to have a center point at the end, because we know what our brand stands for and know what message we want to relay. So at the end of the day, we have to exploit each and every channel, because if we don't do so, we will not capitalize on each and every one, and we might pass without being really perceived the way we want. What we do is that we make sure that we stand for the same thing, because a brand cannot be schizophrenic. So what we do is that whatever we do, from the brief we give to our creative agency to the message we want to relate to the brand identity, we always stick to the same message. Reaching the point of sale, we make sure that on digital, on TV, on radio, on outdoor, everywhere we are giving the same message. We are preaching the same values, let's say, of our brand. So this is the way we try to do it integrated.
Jean, Banque Audi is super about innovation, so that would be great if you could talk a bit about that.
I think it's easy about creative integration, but what is more difficult is the e-commerce side of it. Especially in our case, I touched base earlier on the banking secrecy and how difficult this is to be linked to social media and to identify a client of yours on social media, because if you do that and you try to communicate with him as such, you will be illegally talking to him. So because it's not allowed, it's banking secrecy law in Lebanon is quite important, as you all know. And I don't think we are there as yet in terms of e-commerce and e-technology. We try to integrate it as much as we can in our e-branches, in our digital offering, in our Novo offering that we have today in the marketplace. We introduced recently the ITM, where it allows people to use technology and bank very late during the day, every day of the week, beyond the official working hours. And we are now working on another offering in terms of banking, where it could be also on a 24 hours. But also the laws and the regulation and compliance are very, very strict on that front. We don't enjoy the liberty of doing whatever we want. So every ITM could be considered as a branch, because you can bank with it wherever you are. So there are restrictions on that front.
With so much new technology and with the rise of access to data, how is data and analytics affecting strategic decisions for clients and agencies in general?
Well, this is the buzzword of nowadays. I mean, yes, the data, everything today starts with data, and data is so accessible in such a scientific and precise and accurate way that no one can escape it, and everyone asks for it because this is the best guide, I mean, a client or an agency can have. And today data is enabling, beyond the communication solution, marketing solution, addressing, I mean, coming back to the basics of marketing, which are the 4 Ps. I mean, I will use this because this is something that the new generation should come back to, and this is the beauty of data, where you use it across all fronts and across all levels. Now, I mean, on the importance of data, I have a statement that I found on Forbes, which is quite interesting because it has kinds of measure the exponential effect of what data can bring. So leaders in data-driven marketing are more than 6 times likely to achieve competitive advantage in increasing profitability, and 5 times more likely in achieving customer retention. So basically, our clients are looking at these parameters. But then again, and allow me here to be a little bit controversial, because I come from a creative and advertising background where data is important, but where creativity is at the core of what we do. And we don't want to let the data speak in the name of creativity to the extent that it's killing creativity. But then again, I'm not saying that creativity is the name of the game. But still, there is a kind of disappointed statement by a lady, and she sent a letter of, like a divorce between what she used to do and the industry. It's a long statement. I'm going to read just if you give me 2 minutes. So the lady is saying, "I'm sorry, I can't. Don't hate me. I'm at the point where I think I have to break up with advertising. You started cutting corners, doing things on the cheap, in less time. You stopped caring about ideas and craft, stopped having a point of view. You have a new love, and she's called data. Data. You just do what she tells you to without thinking twice. Data tells you the target market is always millennials. Data tells you that when everybody zigs, you should zig too. Data tells you that a 3-millisecond view by an online bot is a reliable measure. Data tells you that the only way forward is programmatic everything. The worst thing is how she and you have turned our amazing planners into insurance salesmen. Sorry for the people who are in the insurance business, whose sole job now is to de-risk." It's not long anymore, but it's a very interesting letter to the business. "Despite all this, I hope you can change. Maybe you need to scale back a bit and think about what's important. Sell the big office, spend time with real people again. Read a book or 2, rediscover how and why the world is changing, and maybe you will start using the power of creativity for the right things." So her name is Nadia Powell, and she's the co-founder of Utopia and Innovation Social.
So basically, it goes back to the first question where we're saying that yes, advertising budgets are shrinking. Everyone wants to make the best use of their dollar. So here, data comes to help plan all of this. So it's not really about killing creativity, it's mainly about adapting creativity to data. So today there are case studies that you can find on Google and on Facebook, on Think with Google and on the case studies, where actually one big creative concept was adapted for digital by doing adaptations to fit target markets. So one part of a big creative that focuses, let's say, on mothers was shown to mothers only, etc. So at the end of the day, it's really about reach and relevance in a mobile-first world. All right, so data helps optimize across. It helps guide the creative sometimes. It helps, not necessarily, it helps guide the creative. In my opinion as well, it helps optimize performance to reach KPIs and then to enhance KPIs. So for us in social and digital, data is the holy grail. No, not creativity. Yeah, it is creativity, but data is also our holy grail.
In fact, data is very important, and the rise of interest for data and access to data is there, and we should live with it. But it's up to us what to do with it. I would describe it like a tasty ingredient in a recipe, but we should not overdo it. So there is a certain measurement to keep it going the right way. So if it's that tasty, then let me use it the right way. And I think that we're exposed to so much data nowadays that we don't know how to digest it anymore. And I think everybody is faced with that, and agencies as well. So we talk about return on investment, we talk about how to use the data to target the consumer, to follow him to the restroom and to tell him something in a restaurant in the restroom because he has. I believe that a brand should, guided by the agency, of course, not be intrusive. Leave the space where you like this brand and you look at this brand in a nice way. Because if it follows you everywhere in an intrusive manner, I think it defeats the purpose. So, of course, there is a balance that we should reach, but of course, also it's up to us what to do with the data, and it's very important to have this data to filter it and to use it the right way.
I'll tell a story to illustrate what you said. Okay. 2 years ago, in a big retail store in the US, a man comes in screaming, shouting, I want to see the manager, this is unacceptable what you have been doing. You have been sending my daughter, who is 16 years old, tips and on how to raise children and how to buy baby seats, etc., and products for pregnant women, so on and so forth. He was really screaming, and these things, as intrusive as you were saying, on people's personal life. So nobody could answer him what. They took the details, and 2 days later, the manager of the store came to his home and apologized, and he told him that we have our database red algorithm checking what your daughter has been buying during the last few months, and we know that she was, and it read that she was pregnant and she was in her 5th month. So he said, he told him, I apologize for coming to your store, but I just knew yesterday that my daughter was pregnant. And it gives you how much today retailer and businesses and companies can read with the behavior of people everywhere they go. And it's very scary, absolutely scary. And there is definitely an auto-censorship that companies should be doing on that front. Banks would know if you paid with your credit card, where you slept, where you went, what you bought, and I stopped there.
Okay, that was quite controversial. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone. In terms of, I think the audience would be interested in terms of budgets and how budgets are changing with the rise of digital, how budgets are radically changing, how you allocate budgets and things like that, and how the agencies are telling you to allocate budgets. So it'd be interesting to just touch on this topic.
Maybe it's interesting to hear the clients before.
Okay, for us, we've been learning to really work on our budgets on a different breakdown because we were so much used to use the conventional medium and go mainly on TV, followed by outdoor. And we've seen that we had to really keep some budget for digital and really start to do it. At first, I must be very honest to say I didn't believe in it because I saw everyone, like, we have to be on Facebook. I don't care, I'm panicking, I have to be on Facebook. If my brand is not on Facebook, I'm a loser. Then I didn't see the right content, the right initiatives at the beginning, and for me it was a waste of money. But now I can say that we start seeing some good initiatives. We're now working with Summer on fantastic initiatives with Henkel, where I really would like to invest. And I feel like if I invest, this is going to be elastic. This reflects what I want for my brand. This takes me where I want to go. So with this development that I see around, I'm more encouraged now to spend money on digital. And I would say that our budgets now, 15% of our budget is going to digital, but on the rise to 20-25% soon. So this is to give an idea on how it is going.
I've been back in Lebanon for 2 years, and I was a little bit surprised by the low investment in digital and social media. Today, this glass and metal device, on it you can watch every movie that was ever produced, every song that was ever written, every book also that was ever written, and you need to be there. I mean, mobile is definitely the next big thing going forward in terms of conveyor of technology and messages and so on and so forth. And we are way behind where you are in terms of digital investment because of the traditional aspect of the banking sector, and they need to be in newspapers. No, they don't need to be in newspapers. But this is what the heritage is, and this is what the practice is in Lebanon. So there is a struggle between where you can go, what you can do, and how people perceive things in Lebanon. Today, whether you talk about smartphone penetration or internet penetration, although the speeds are not as high as they are in the US or in Europe, but Lebanon is there, and we need to shift more and more our budget in a very creative way, in a very relevant way to those new channels.
So yes, today, we've witnessed a slow but sure increase in client budgets over the past 5 years. And this is basically driven by the fact that brands need to connect with people where people spend their times. So globally, millennials, the famous millennials, reported that they check their phone more than 150 times a day. Okay, so today the whole concept is connecting with people in a mobile-first world. But that's not just it. What sort of content do people consume? Today, video, it was mentioned before, is on the rise. But there are studies that say that by 2028, more than 80% of all content consumed would actually be video-based. So with time, we will see that the screen is basically, or digital, is where brands need to spend to reach their audience. If their audience is no longer on TV or no longer as a user of newspaper or reader of newspaper or etc. So it's basically connecting with your audience, but in a relevant manner. And sometimes it gets too intrusive.
I mean, thinking about previous years, there was a kind of, two camps, traditional media and digital media, or analog and digital. I think today with where we are, we have evolved, and this dichotomy and separation between analog spending and digital is less, for the simple reason that people have absorbed more or less the inception of digital, and it's a matter of allocating your budget on different kind of screens. you're mentioning newspaper. Maybe you're not reading or you're not targeting your target with the actual newspaper, but most of people are still reading news online. They're looking at the 8 o'clock, famous 8 o'clock TV news everywhere, 24/24. What I'm saying here is that, at least from our side, I don't look at it as being either or. It's like it should be a complementary thing, and it all starts by being media neutral. I mean, we don't listen to clients who come to us and tell us, I want a TVC, or I want a press ad, or I want to do something on digital. I want something on digital. Okay, why? What's your problem? What's the marketing issue? What are your needs? In function of this, we look at it in an integrated way. Sometimes we would recommend a TVC. It's not for us, TVC is not dead. But when you want to put it on YouTube or on Facebook, you don't just plug it in. Maybe you have to edit it in a different way so that now it becomes more relevant to the audience and to the behavior of people looking at ads on Facebook. So again, it's for me something complementary, and it depends about the campaign, the client needs, and the marketing objective. And then again, it becomes a matter of choosing a touch point versus the other, and proper targeting.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question, and I'm going to open it up for Q&A, okay? What do you feel the key trends are going to be shaping the future of advertising for the coming few years? John?
No, really, it's about the technology, and I don't know what is the new big technological device that is going to come our way. You have an answer? Yeah, virtual reality could be one of them. We saw an example earlier today on that. But really, technology is helping technology go faster, and whatever you are discovering today is helping things to be discovered even faster and faster in the future. So what you thought would take 50 years is going to take maybe 10 or 12 years.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. Last week we had a workshop. People from Facebook came and we gave a 2 days workshop at Leo Burnett. And in terms of new trends, or even Facebook are trying to get the budget towards them. Like when you meet also the YouTube people and Google people, they will try to convince you to go on Google. It's not even between Google and TVC and NBC. It's between Google and Facebook and Snapchat, and I mean the competition is now elsewhere. But what we did is that, I mean, what comes out is that mobile is becoming everything, and the way we need to conceive our advertising should take into account the specific, screen and behavior. But again, there are no answers, and I agree with Jean. Technology leads into more technology. But as far as we're concerned, as an agency, as a brand agency, maybe it's about really understanding what it means by having a creative innovation or creative technology, and how do I say it? Incorporate technology within the creative process and not make technology the end by itself, but as a tool. This is from our side, and I think we need to be very much aware of this so that we don't fall into the gimmicks of VR or artificial intelligence or any other Snapchat, but I mean, try to follow and be innovative and take the lead on this, but then again, putting the creativity and strategy and concept at the heart of it, and not be the slaves of technology.
So I agree, it's basically too fast, moving too fast, so the future, nobody knows. But the main thing that we always keep preaching is that no matter what the future is, it's very important to try. It's not really, many people choose to stand on the sidelines and see what everyone else is doing and then ride on the wagon. It's good to try and see how you can work with your brand and with your agency to sort of push the limit and see how you can benefit from the future as it's happening, not 5 years after it happened, basically.
In fact, of course, I don't know what the future will be, but what I know is that it will be better than today. This is what I know for sure. If we continue to work with agencies, to challenge them the right way, to work with them, think with them, inspire them, and get inspired by them, I think that we're going to reach, it's only more tools that we have on hand to do a better job. We shouldn't look at it as a monster coming to fight us, or we should cope with it in a positive manner and get inspired by that, because it's, of course, VR is something very nice, and there are a lot of tools and technologies that are amazing today. Imagine I'm still using the phone, the big one. It's good that people thought about having a mobile device. I'm very happy with that. So it's good that we have people coming up with those innovations, and I'm sure these innovations will serve us for a better future in advertising. More creative, more funny, more entertaining, and it's the best part of business, I can tell you. I've been in finance before, and I only started working, the real work, when I got into commercial and I got into advertising. This is the real life.
Last year we brought future technologists to the bank, and he predicted that the future in terms of communication will be based on robotics. So everything, it's like having a Bank Audi branch as a Siri. You know, you call, you do whatever you want, she will respond to you, and then. So for him, robotic in cars, devices, managing system, services, ordering today is going to be the, according to him, the next big thing.
There are robots in Tokyo who are developing creative ads. Robots are replacing creative, human creative. Our creative were not happy with this, I can tell you.
I think it's very interesting, and I mean, we're listening to industry leaders, and they're like telling us their experiences, and I'd like to really thank the panelists, and I'd like to thank you for being with us. We're going to send the panel video to everybody who registered as well, and I'd like to thank Ramted Hafiz and Lebanon Opportunities for asking me to moderate this amazing panel and the great panelists, and I'd like to open it up for Q&A, so if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Hello, Jad Daber from Expand. I have a question. We need an advice from you guys regarding the SMEs. Big companies have big budgets, big agencies have great creativity, but what would you advise for the SMEs who constitute like more than 90% of the market and do not have the creativity or the budget? What would you advise them to do to keep up with advertising? Thank you.
Tough question. I don't know what you want to do, you know, for me to be able to advise you on something. But I think be focused on what your purpose is. Be focused on what you try to do, what you want to achieve. Be focused in your targeting. Be focused on what you want to get as a result also from this specific communication, and I guess you will get there slowly and slowly. Without getting more into the details of what the problem is, I mean, this is what I can advise you.
Just between parentheses, would it be possible for banks to create loans for advertising? Because usually they give loans for assets, but not for...
I mean, there are loans for SME. We just launched last year with the help of the World Bank, a very big SME offering that is tailor-made. So that is very flexible. You can pick and choose. You can develop certain things. It can go from premises loans to loans that are based on card usage at very low interest rate. I'm sorry, I'm not here to promote what our offering is, but you can check it online, and you will see that this is something that was quite developed for the Lebanese market with the help of the World Bank for SME financing.
Khalid Kabrosbri from Brandbus, thank you all. Samar, you mentioned in the beginning budgets are shrinking And then you said in the past 5 years they've increased a bit.
Budgets?
Maybe I'm missing something, but that's one. Can I ask 2, 3 questions?
No, one question each.
I wouldn't have chosen this one.
So budgets are globally shrinking for advertising or whatever people have in terms of budget for marketing, but they're increasing on digital in particular.
I see. So that's it?
Hello, Mohammed Omar from Limitless Lab. Okay, I sense like the agencies are still a little bit afraid from technology. This is what I sense from you guys. And regarding the VR, it's not the future of advertising, it's augmented reality, because all studies show that actually in 2020, augmented reality budget will be around 120 billion compared to 60 billion to VR. And this is, I think, in one purpose, which is a mobile, which is a wearable, like you said, guys. So this device is the future. We wear it. It's like, it's more actually. We take it to bathrooms, really now. So and to everywhere. So that's why it will make, I think, augmented reality more accessible than VR because we don't need the device that VR needs. What do you think about augmented reality in terms of your consumer engagement, customer experiences? Where are you going into this? I mean, okay, we know about the digital and the offline, but why agencies don't put that much effort into consumer engagement and experience offline, in stores and outdoor, to connect with the customers?
I think beyond VR or AR or whatever, you're talking about experiential marketing. And today, immersion is very, very important in communication. It goes beyond just, interacting and connecting on Facebook or Snapchat. Definitely, I agree with you. But then again, it's still new. I don't know if agencies are afraid of technology. I think agencies are pretty much versed into this. But maybe client would be cautious, and it's normal, and they need to test and to see what happens. Now there are very good examples of experiential marketing across the world. I don't know in Lebanon if some clients or agency went into this, but any event today have to go around this experiential. I mean, you see what happens when you have BDL Accelerate and in the forums that you find. You see some experiential, some immersion, VR, AR. You see this, but now to have a strategy built, a complete strategy built around this, I think, I don't know, it's too early.
Is it the client side, or shouldn't the agency do more education to the client about this?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's the role of the agency, seriously.
But it should be part of the strategy. It's not like I'm educating just because.
To introduce this stuff also. If the client is insisting on something, that the agencies will be more educated, playing more role in this.
Do we have any more questions? One question per person. Okay, it's been a long day. Yes.
My name is Rasha. I work as the sales and marketing executive at Golden Tulip Galleria Hotel. So basically our industry really focuses on telemarketing. Do you think it's still as beneficial as social media or any other platform?
Telemarketing is not a media platform. Telemarketing is a way of working out of home. Correct me if I'm wrong. So basically, I don't see the connection or
You mean the one-on-one?
telemarketing. What do you mean?
Yes, so we use
Telemarketing for me, it's about teleworking. It's working out of home or
No, it's
what do you mean?
telemarketing is calling to raise awareness about the product we serve.
As a sales center, as a sales tool.
I think you can do more than telemarketing for your industry, because the travel industry and the hotel industry and the tourism industry is maybe the first industry that adopted e-commerce. I remember what Emirates Airline did, that they moved in 1 year like 50% of their budget to e-commerce and to try to overpass, if you want, the travel agent and the booking agent, etc. So whenever you are searching for a flight anywhere in the world, you can find it. So I think this will be a little bit more impactful if you do it right than telemarketing, the way it's done, because telemarketing is also viewed today as extremely annoying. You know, receiving a call when you don't need it, and it's better to go to the client when he is searching for something. It's much more appropriate for you to be able to give him the solution while he's looking for it, and not while he's doing something totally different. He's not having any plans to go to a hotel or to book a hotel.
Hi everyone, thank you. I'm the owner of an SME, and I've been doing my media or my advertising part of the game by myself, following my gut feeling. Because for me, my company is my baby, and no one knows it better than me. Especially that promoting stuff and advertising became so easy that I just go to Google, say, how can I advertise on Facebook? And then I follow it. So what's the added value of having an agency while I'm at this stage?
It's a very pertinent question, and if I had an SME, I would do the same. Honestly, I would start like you're starting, and it's the right approach. But then again, as you're growing and developing, you would need strategic advice. And this is where you need a partner. And later on, if you're going to grow even more, you would need to have a sort of communication plan that would really, help you grow even further. So yes, you're right, you can do it, but it all depends about how far and how quickly you want to grow, and you will find it yourself. You will, since it's your baby, you will reach a point, I think, where you want to do something bigger and more consistent, and you will need advice, and Google will not be able to just fill in the gaps on this.
As a fellow entrepreneur, bootstrapping is very good at the beginning.
Good evening. I'm Gina. We're representing iShip, my husband and partner, and we do shopping online and shipping all over the world to Lebanon from Amazon, eBay, and yeah. So as well, we are an SME, and two of the people spoke about SME. Sometimes you cannot afford to do the media like on MTV or when you like it, because you go directly to all the customers in Lebanon. So we are just targeting Google and Facebook and Instagram, SMS, emails. You got it. I hope you're not bothered. So reply us, okay?
So you're doing a good job.
Thank you. You have special discounts. All of you in the room from iShip, 10% each. So start placing your orders. Anyway, so we spoke to Brunette, the advertising, and we wanted a special offer for them. We told them about SME, but they were very expensive for us as a beginning. Maybe in the future when we grow more, discounts? I'll take your word. So, my question is, would you do a special discount for, you told me you will, for SME, like, because we want to grow and we really believe in what we are doing, especially in Lebanon. And when we succeed in Lebanon, we will succeed everywhere in the world, because I think it's the hardest market and it's very difficult to succeed in Lebanon.
It's a very
Yeah.
It's a very good question, and actually we were contemplating to have a kind of approach startups, because startups have a different way of approaching their business. They have different means. They think in a different way than established brands and companies. We haven't started it yet, but I hear you, I hear the lady before, and it really comforts me with the way we're thinking and eventually coming up with a kind of service. It's not 10% or 15%, but another kind of service that would really answer your needs in a more affordable way. We're not there yet, unfortunately, but maybe soon.
I think it should be soon in partnership with the banks because it gives more comfort to the bank that
Any more questions? I think we can wrap up the session. Thank you so much for staying, and thank you so much to the panelists, and thank you for the opportunity.